Hi everyone, I'm George Massey and I'm here for a different type of video. You guys know me for my podcasting and also my Twitter and Instagram posts, but I'm here for a different type of video. If you watch 90 Day Fiancé, you know that there's a couple on the show that has intrigued most of America, and that would be Amira and Andrew. And I have the pleasure to speak with Andrew's ex from previous when he previously dated Amira. This is his last serious relationship, and I would like everyone to meet Stephanie. So we're going to talk to Stephanie regarding some of the things that took place in her relationship, and I just want to make sure that everyone understands that these are things that happened in the past. This isn't anything that's going on in her life now, and we're just discussing the dynamic of the relationship when it took place at that time. So the first question I wanted to ask you was, what was your home life like? What was the dynamic? What mindset were you in when you met Andrew?
So just to put everyone back to the time period, it's 2007 and the beginning of the recession. So it was a lot of chaos. One of my parents had lost their job, and it was hard to really make it. And I was myself, I had a younger brother, we're both teenagers, close in age. We started feeling really disconnected and almost ignored. We're like latchkey kids, really. And so I felt very isolated in my environment. Everything was changing so fast. I had already switched high schools due to some issues at the previous one. And I had arrived just kind of feeling alone. I was a very lonely person. I was pretty much primed for a relationship that would take advantage of me. I would be able to go to school, but immediately after I'd have to go right to my room, right to my bedroom. So it was school and then home, school, home. I wasn't able to see my friends. It was very strict. I had a very strict family environment.
I see. So it's kind of chaotic at the time. And how did you and Andrew meet?
A friend had taken me to his house. We were working on a project. I think it was like a Thursday or Friday night. And then we got bored. We went over. He had given me and my friend some alcohol, and I had gotten really sick and started throwing up a lot because I didn't drink alcohol into like this trash can. And I felt so embarrassed. So I actually reached out to him the next day and said, I am so sorry. And then we started like an online relationship and then made plans to meet later.
What was he like when you met him? Like, how did he approach you? Like, when you got to his house, what did you feel when you spoke with him?
So he came on really strong. And then I think I was open this because I felt so alone. I wanted a sense of purpose. Like, he looked at me and said, I read the book, The Secret. I learned how to manifest. I wanted a woman just like you. I wanted a woman who looked like Natalie Portman. And then, of course, like, I'm young. And I'm like, oh my God, like, she's beautiful and people like her. Like, I feel validated. If someone were to say that to me in my adult mind, I would have said, like, what are you talking about? That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, I am me. And he just made me feel like I had a purpose, and he had called me in and just completely came on strong and love bombed me, and it overwhelmed me. It made me feel good. I let go, and I started ignoring things that would be red flags. I just felt immediately engaged to him, like, and energetically.
All right, so in comparison to when you met, how was the relationship dynamic when you began a committed relationship? Like, what were some key changes in behavior and treatment that you noticed?
So he would start being a lot more flat. Everything in my life at that time revolved around him. I did not have a driver's license. I didn't work. I was not able to do those things yet. And everything was him. It was school, Andrew. Replaced my normal life of school, home. It was school, Andrew, school, Andrew. So everything revolved around him. When it started to go flat, instead of like a relationship maintenance, he would do like a grand gesture. Once he went and got this ring out of his closet, he brought it to me. And he said, I wanted to give it to you that night in the garage, the night when he said I looked like Natalie Portman, and he manifested me into his life. That's weird. He said, but I wanted to be sure. And I remember it was like this blue birthstone ring. And I thought it was kind of weird, it's like a fake gemstone. He said, I picked this out when I was a kid to give to the woman of my dreams, and I want to give this to you. And the timing of that was really weird because it was probably about a year into our relationship, and I had started to kind of awaken to like, I'm uncomfortable, I'm unhappy. And he must have noticed the pullback, so he just rushed in with a brand new thing to kind of keep my attention.
So, what was your relationship like with your friends and family during your relationship with Andrew? Was it open communication between your friends and family, or did you feel more isolated from them?
I started to feel exceptionally isolated. I had already been primed for that. I wasn't able to see my friends outside of school, and I just noticed myself withdrawing more. People a lot of times look for warning signs like in changes of behavior and something new, but for me, my warning sign was I was starting to go silent and I stopped communicating. I just completely withdrew from everything. Even talking to my family about it, they said it felt like he dominated a lot of the way you felt and you thought, and he presented as such a nice guy. My mom thought he was great, he was nice. What had worried her was his family dynamics at the time. His parents were divorcing, and there was a new woman with a child, a younger woman. And my mom was worried, what does this mean for Stephanie if this religion goes further? If this is his normal, how will he treat her? Like, is there always an upgrade? She was worried. So when the relationship fell apart, she was pretty relieved.
Did you feel that, because you said that the way your mom perceived him was he was a really nice guy, do you feel like he acted differently around your parents or around your friends or around people in public than he did when you guys were together?
Completely. He had a whole different public persona. He loves to be seen as friendly and giving and thoughtful, and that's where he gets all of his ego points. I feel like, or whatever word you use for that. That's where he feels validated by outward people saying these things about him. But in private relationships, he's really cruel and hot and cold. There was no place for me to have an opinion or a thought unless it reflected his. So it was a really damaging time for me. I was like a growing, developing brain, and I was shutting down because I had so much negativity put towards me when I showed any kind of independence.
Gotcha. Well, we're going to come back. That's it for part one. We're going to come back for part two, and we're going to dig a little deeper into behaviors and changes. So I'm George Masi. I'm going to put my Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at the bottom. Make sure you join us for part two. And we're going to dig a lot deeper into the relationship dynamic. And again, thank you so much to Stephanie for sharing this story with us. And we will see you guys back here for part two.